finally got the pile cleared away that has been taunting me for a very long time. About 6 months, probably longer. It is finally cleared off. I hosed them all down. They're all done is better than perfect. I'm gonna do the best I can. So, solution, I hosed them all down and then I'm gonna put them in this trough. I dumped a gallon of vinegar in there and then I'm just gonna throw everything in there, let it soak for an hour or so. The vinegar should most likely kill off anything that might be still living on there. I hosed off all the dirt. I hosed off as much of the mildewy looking stuff as I could. Definitely did not get anywhere close to all of it. And all of the cocoons, spider webs, you know, stuff like that that just gets in your gardening stuff. I realized I did not think this through all the way. Our well is great. It's wonderful. However, the pump does not work as fast as the hose does. So now our water holding tank that we have in our pump house is empty. So I'm gonna have to resume this later on. I'm soaking wet. I need to go inside, warm up, clean up. It is tomorrow. I got squirreled and completely forgot to come out here and finish this project. So this seemed kind of like the perfect time to introduce you my 5 tips for ADHD gardeners in the winter, because I know we forgot to do them. And this also applies to everybody else. But as an ADHD gardener, one of those things is cleaning up your equipment. Is this better to do in October? Absolutely. But I don't think I've ever done that. So we're doing it here in the frigid cold, but we're still doing it because it's gonna help set us up for success. One thing that I tend to get sidelined on is right around the middle of the gardening season, I get distracted or the dopamine dries up and I move on to something else, which is exactly what happened to me last year in spades. It was the worst gardening season I think I've ever had. And the last half of the gardening season, I don't think I even went outside for more than like 2 times to just harvest whatever happened to not be dead at the moment. One thing that helps me get ready for the garden season is having everything ready. Is it a pain in the butt to do it in the winter? Absolutely. But is it a bigger pain in the butt when I have to clean every single tray right before I'm about to plant them? Even more so. And ADHD is one of the main reasons that I purchase my gardening equipment through Bootstrap Farmer. 1, colorful, dopamine. For those of you who don't know, ADHD is a problem like within your brain. It does not produce the required dopamine that a person really needs to function as a healthy human being. So we go after things that bring dopamine, they bring happiness, and we kind of just go after it. It's like we're basically just dopamine miners. And having these bright, beautiful, colorful gardening equipment brings me joy. That's a personal thing for me. I love things that are colorful and happy and joyful. So that's one of the reasons for that I use Bootstrap Farmer. The other reason is the durability of it, okay? I left these out in the sun. I left them out in the elements and they are absolutely no worse for the wear. These ones, these black ones, I have had used, abused, planted, left out in the sun, neglected, you name it. These black pots have been through it for about 6 years now. They are perfectly fine. I think maybe 5 of them have broken because I've like stepped on them. And honestly, they can stand up to my abuse. The colorful aspect is also nice because they're really easy to clean. When you have the black ones, or you know, black that's just the standard trays, number one, you can't really clean them very well because they're just gonna break. These ones, my cats are doing something over there, who knows what. You can clean them, you can scrub them, you can see what you need to wash off, and just pile them up for next year. Well, this year. I'm not doing this in absolute detail. I'm doing this to the level of detail that I'm just like, done is better than perfect, like I said. But if you do this in October, it's a lot easier because it hasn't built up a bunch of growth on it over the time. You can just rinse off the dirt. So if you can remember to do this in October, do it. 2 of the next tips that I have for you. kitten incoming. 2 of the tips that I have for you guys, I did a more detailed video in my most previous video. I'll be sure to link it for you at the end. But the first one is covering up your garden. Putting it to bed. If you haven't already done it back in October or November, you can still do it now. I did this area of the garden. I covered it up with a tarp because everything got overgrown and it would take way too much work for me to go out there and try and weed all of this stuff. It is a disaster. This here, grass, not garden. I haven't had a chance to cover this one up yet because I need to get another tarp, but this cat, oh my goodness. But cover up your garden with whatever you got. If you got mulch, if you got leaves, wood chips, plastic, whatever you can get. Wait for the wind. Whatever you can get to cover up your garden, do it. It's gonna make the weeding process throughout the year so much easier. And we all know when the garden gets overgrown with a ton of weeds, it's really hard to get motivated to go out there and work in your garden. So cover it up. I haven't even finished covering up the rest of my garden. Even though it's January, it is not too late. You can still benefit from covering up your garden, killing off all the weeds. It can still happen in the winter. You don't have to have tremendous amounts of heat. It'll just take longer. So I'm gonna finish scrubbing up the rest of these, and I'm gonna meet you guys inside for the other tips. I thought of one more reminder, so we're at 6 currently. So we'll see where you're at the end. The next reminder that I have for you guys is to organize and sort through your seeds. This is where it gets fun. Turn this into this, or whatever version works for you and your brain. What a lot of folks don't know about people with ADHD is we are actually perfectionists. We really enjoy things being organized. We really enjoy doing it sometimes. So whenever the inspiration hits, do it. Organize them. You'll be so happy that you did. You can sort them by type like I did last year. You can sort them by when they need to be planted, which is what I did. I really think it's gonna help calm the squirrels that are running around inside of my head, but time will tell. Organize them however works for you and your brain. Sort through them, figure out which seeds that you need to plant. Also, if you're like me and you forgot your seeds, maybe they got soaked, maybe they got wet, maybe they got left out in the sun or your greenhouse or wherever it may be. If you did any of those things, it's really helpful to do a germination test so you're not just hoping that your seeds are good. So that's tip number 4, germination test your seeds. That is the second thing that I did in the most recent video. If you want to get a little bit more instruction as to how I did that, check out that video. It's gonna be linked for you guys at the end. For those of you who haven't gone back and watched that video yet, I left a few of these in the greenhouse. I'm not sure which ones. So I went ahead and did a seed germination test on a few packets from each of these envelopes. I marked them so I can tell which envelopes are obviously not the ones that are dead. It's been probably about 5 to 7 days, I think, since I did the germination test with you guys. I wanted to follow up with y'all. One of the packets of lettuce has started to sprout. I don't know if you can see that through the camera. You can see also envelope number 6, the melons are also perfectly good. This one's especially good. It's got lots of sprouts to them. We got some daisy sprouts. If you're not sure about your seeds, now's the time to do a germination test. I'm gonna give these ones about another week because it's only been like 5 days. A lot of these seeds naturally would not have sprouted by now, so I'm gonna give them a little bit more time and see what we come up with. Once you sort through them, you figure out what you need, you do a germination test, figure out which seeds are dead. Now it's time to order seeds. December, January, timeframes like that, that's the time to order the seeds. That's when they have them all in stock and you don't have to worry about them running out. If we wait until February or March when we need to plant them, we won't have them to plant. And number 2, they might be out, so you might not even be able to order them. Order your seeds. Let's do a little mini seed haul to get you in the mood. Yesterday I drove to our local big city, Springfield, and on the way is a lovely little place called Baker Creek Seeds. We live in a reasonable driving distance to Baker Creek. And when I started my winter seeds, I noticed I only had one variety of cauliflower. I love cauliflower. So I decided on my way back that I was gonna slip in there real quick, grab some cauliflower, and that's not all that happened. I already started the seeds last night that I need from this pile that already needed to be started, but I figured I would also go ahead and grab some celery because I also only had one type of celery. And of course I can't just buy normal celery. I bought pink celery. It's Chinese pink. And then the gentleman who was working there was super duper helpful. And I said, I need cauliflower. And he was like, this, 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 and this. So I was like, all right, bet. So I got Durgash 41, Rober, amazing. And of course I couldn't not get a purple one, Purple of Sicily. Just because I'm me. When I first got there, he was like, do you need a basket? And I was like, please God, no, don't give me a basket. Then I'll fill it up. And he's like, well, that's kind of my job. And I was like, well, No. But I did remember on my way there that I also needed some cilantro because I have no cilantro and I want to make sure that I grow cilantro. I didn't realize until last year that I actually like cilantro. I thought I hated it. Turns out I don't. Freaking delicious. And then I also got some salvia blue sage, Pandora poppy, frosted salmon, purple peony poppy. I got some of these. Look at these nasturtiums. Oh my goodness. Purple emperor. I love colorful things in case you hadn't figured that one out yet. And Aztec sunset zinnia. When I was sorting through my seeds, I realized I was out of 2 melons. It was the Kiku chrysanthemum and the Kajari. And then of course I was able to pick this one as my free seed. I grew these last year and they're fantastic. I love those seeds. So I'm gonna go ahead, put these seeds away. Throughout the season, you're gonna be seeing me planting a ton of different seeds from a ton of different companies. There's a lot of awesome companies out there. Survival Garden Seeds is good. Of course, I go with Baker Creek. It's local to me. They have a massive variety of heirloom stuff, which is something that I absolutely love. And then like Haas Tools, Am I Gardener, So True Seeds, Territorial Seeds. There's a ton of them. I'll link some down for you guys down below. Apparently now we're at 7 because I forgot to mention plan your garden. This is the dreaming stage. This is where you get to pull out your seeds, you get to figure out what you want to grow, and then you're gonna sit down and you're gonna make a plan. Whenever you feel like it, make a plan for whatever you want to start. Whenever it needs to be started, for me, again, the whole detail-oriented when you feel like it, I made this little garden sheet here, and this is what I'm going to plan my garden around. It has the most basic, simple information. I can keep it with my seeds. I can bring it with me out to my greenhouse. It's just one sheet of paper for the vegetables, and I have everything that I need listed on here. Might seem overwhelming. It's really not. I just had the inspiration, spent an evening with a hyperfixation, and then I had it. And it's basically whether it needs to be transplanted or direct sown, when I need to start the seeds based on weeks before frost, as well as the actual date. I had to put the actual date on here or I wouldn't remember, because 8 to 12 weeks, that's a vast period of time. But I know when I look at this, on or around January 23rd, I need to start my pepper seeds. So it's a whole week time frame. So whenever throughout that week I feel like doing it, that's when I'm gonna do it. And I've also got when it needs to be set out. Again, with the actual weeks before the last frost, as well as the actual date, because I need the date. The date is so important. And then also when I get towards the end of the season, I can look at my sheet, I can resort it if I want and reprint it based on when I need to start my last transplant. So go in the ground for my fall crop, date also included. And also to stop me from getting squirreled and having to Google something later on, I put this plant spacing for everything so I know how far apart to put them. So now I think we're on to our actual last reminder, and that is something that you don't actually have to do, but it is something that will help you to be more successful in your garden. Because one thing that's very frustrating is having low germination rates and just not having a successful garden, because having a successful, productive garden is something that gives the ADHD brain some more dopamine. So cold stratifying your seeds will help with the germination rates of many of your seeds. Not many, some. It'll help with the germination rate of some of your seeds. I have this little container as part of my kits here, and it's just cold stratify. All that means is doing exactly what we did with the, I can't even remember what I was saying. So how can you tell which one of your seeds needs to be cold stratified? 2 ways, well, I'm sure there's more than 2 ways, but the 2 ways that I have done it is, 1, Mr. Google Pants will have all the answers that you need. Just punch it in there, look up some articles, and that'll tell you. Number 2, looking on the back of your seed packet. It'll show you in 2 different ways. This one from Am I Gardener says to cold stratify it. This one from Baker Creek says you want to plant it out in the fall, which shows you exactly why these seeds benefit from cold stratification. It is mimicking winter, which these particular seeds need in order to properly germinate. All we're gonna need are some Ziploc bags, water, paper towels, and a Sharpie. The one that I'm gonna show you on is this poppy. Take your paper towel, put it in the water, right on your Ziploc bag before you plant it so it's not wet and you won't have a problem writing on it, and the date. Then, make sure you keep your seeds separate from the water. Take the paper towel, unfold it because we're gonna sprinkle it on the inside of the paper towel. And I'm just gonna sprinkle all of these bad boys on here. I love poppies, why wouldn't I do that? Then we're gonna kind of press it into the paper towel. Or not, that was a dumb idea. Fold it up, press it in there. That's when you wanna press it. Put it in our Ziploc bag. And you want to make sure that you're leaving a little bit of airflow because remember, we're mimicking the conditions of planting. So we want to make sure that it has a little bit of airflow. Then we'll just pop this guy in the fridge. You can put all of these inside of a larger Ziploc or inside of a bowl or, you know, in a dedicated drawer or something like that, just to make sure they all stay together. You can be successful without doing this. So don't think that you have to do this or else. I have planted all of these seeds successfully, except the lavender, milkweed, and marshmallow. Mallow? What is that called? So don't let that stop you. You can absolutely start these, but it'll just help you to have a more successful, more productive season of a few different seeds. Would it have been better if I cold stratified these a couple of weeks ago? Yes. That's probably when I should have done it. But now is better than ever, so get on it. Doing these things now in the winter before the gardening season is gonna set you up for success, which means you'll be less frustrated in the spring having all of these extra tasks that you need to take care of. You will be more successful in the summer because you will have less pests, less weeds, less disease, and just be able to enjoy the season. Are you gonna have no pests, no disease, no weeds? Of course not. It's just a part of gardening. You may as well put in a little bit of work now during the slower period so that you can have more success later on, when it matters, when you're ready to harvest and start canning everything. Remember, now is the time to prepare for the garden. No matter who you are, especially if you're ADHD, this is the reminder for you. It's time to get started. Let's do it. Be sure to check out this video right here so that you can get 2 of the tips that I had in here in more detail. Peace out, sauerkraut.